been a lot of talk about Kwame Brown. Was he right? Was he wrong? Is he being too sensitive? My initial thought of this entire situation is that Kwame Brown, everything he's saying is 100% factual and 100% true, in my opinion, because you don't get to disrespect somebody, then say, get mad at how they react to the disrespect. Where I'm from, it's kind of like if you got smoke with somebody and you initiate that smoke, don't be mad if they respond with more smoke. And that's what Kwame Brown is doing. That's why I have no problem with Kwame Brown and him going after the guys in the media, because he is a success story. People try to minimize guys' impact or what guys have done or didn't do because they couldn't do it at all. It's like those guys that be in the stands watching, like you play high school basketball, you play college basketball, and your classmates, and they're talking about, oh, you had a bad game, but you're in the stands watching me. It's the same thing from the media's point of view looking at some of these players. You're talking about these players, but you've never been in those trenches. You've never been in those situations. You've never been in those key moments in a game where you got to set a screen for a player coming off a pin down to give them an open shot to hit the game with a shot. They don't know about those things. It's the same thing I try to tell people all the time. No matter if you play Division III, Division II, Division I, you play college basketball, you're a success story, because the average high school basketball player percentages to make it to D3 is 1.5, D2 1.2, D1 0.9. You are a success story if you play college sports. You are a success story if you go overseas. You may not be playing at the highest league like a Jimmer Fredette where you're at China, you're making millions of dollars, but it's like 5 different leagues overseas. If you're getting paid and you can make a professional career playing overseas for 5 to 10 years, you are a success story. If you make it to the NBA and you play a certain amount of years, you are a success story. Just making it to the league to sign $1 million contract to get general wealth for your family, you are a success story. So I had no problem with Kwame Brown coming out and saying the things that he said. And once again, you cannot get mad at guys if they have been disrespected and the way they respond to your disrespect. So people are saying he went too far, he's doing the most. They're wrong, because he has every right, because he didn't ask for that initial smoke where he talked about where he came and how he grew up, talked about making it to the NBA, talking about his impact on a lot of things that people don't really know about. He talked about Kobe Bryant's game when he dropped 81 points and talked about how, people are looking at it like, oh, Kobe dropped 81 points, but he took pride in helping Kobe get those 81 points and stuff like that, talking about the screens that he made. And a lot of the average casual fans don't understand this, but screen assists wasn't really tracked during those times, but it's tracked now because of hustle stats. So that is an impactful. Having screen assists and setting screens is a measurement that the NBA literally uses to track hustle stats and gets these guys contracts and gets these guys where they can go at the end of the year and when they negotiate their deals and say, you know what, I was leader in shot contest, I was leader in hustle stats. So that wasn't around with Kwame Brown. So when Kwame Brown is saying all these things about him being a success story, he is a success story. Now, was he the best NBA player compared to his counterparts? No, but when you have made it past 3 years in the NBA, because that's the average any NBA player gets. So they say it's 3 years in the NBA until they're out the league. He made it past that. You look at these guys that are 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th man on the bench, and they have 10-year careers. That is a success story. They may not be an all-star or superstar, but you know what? 80% of the NBA is not full of all-stars or superstars. They're full of guys that are role players and guys just really doing their job, whether it's being the 9th to 10th, 11th man on the bench and being a practice player and, getting those superstars reps in practice and going hard against those guys in practice. A lot of things that people don't know about or casual fans don't talk about. But those guys are success stories. They don't tear down individuals the same way that people tear down that's in the media when it comes to NBA players. We look at NHL, we look at the NFL, we look at MLB, we look at all those things, and the way those shows are covered is more so talking about the game itself. Of course, you talk about superstars and stuff like that, but they really break down and give you in-depth analysis about what's going on offense, on defense, about a particular player's skill set. And we look at the NBA, it's all narrative-based and narrative-driven, and that's why we can have guys that are journalists have never reached the highest levels of the NBA or played even maybe particular high school basketball or high school sports in general, can come out and call these guys bums and call these guys, say they suck and say all these crazy things in the NBA media. And then when players retaliate, it's like, oh, you're being soft. I'm just doing my job, this and that. Oh, I don't want to, or they don't want to respond to those particular players. And it's really a disconnected NBA game because the game is so simple, but it's so complex at the same time. So that's why you have your average casual fans that will come out and say, like, you know what, they'll watch a WNBA game, say, I'll average 40 and 10 and 10 in the WNBA, but they couldn't even make it on their high school basketball team. So it's just it's annoying, it's unfortunate, and that's why we need real people that really just love the actual sport and not love the narratives that goes on in the sport and the drama surrounding the sport. We need guys that just really love the basketball side of things and want to focus on covering the game of basketball, covering what's really going on, breaking down defense and schemes, and talking about the actual things that really matter, the true beauty and the true art of the game itself. And that's where it's a huge disconnect. And that's why Kwame Brown can come out and say, you know what, people are talking about me, people are disrespecting me, but I made it. You know, I made it to the NBA. I became a NBA player. I have generational wealth from my family. I may have not have been the best player compared to my counterparts, but these guys that are talking about me in a certain way, in a certain light, it's disrespectful, especially if you've never been in those trenches, you've never been in those moments. So I kind of stand with Kwame Brown and everything he's saying, because a lot of things that he was saying was 100% factual. And once again, you don't have to get to disrespect somebody and then get mad at the way they respond to that disrespect. It doesn't work like that.